Miracles and God of the gaps. So when is it a miracle? When can we say, look, God healed grandma or God healed this little child? And when is it a natural law? When is it a natural law, and when does God come in and remove the natural law and heal someone because of prayer? This is not a question easily answered. This is not a question I can answer for you. There has to be times in your life as a Christian, as a person, where you see something, you pray about something, and you feel like God answers that prayer, and it is a miracle. And no one is planning to take that away from you. No one is planning to say that's God of the gaps. That is a personal miracle view. Now, you probably also may know the types of Christian where everything's a miracle. I had a friend in college who just prayed for everything. We would be driving to the mall, and she's praying for the right parking spot, and when we got to put a good parking spot, a closer one in the front, she said, oh, see, Jesus loves us. We are right in front. So I'm not sure you could take it that far. But all of you know times, or have had deep times, or know other people who have been healed or had times that are miracles. And I don't think God or science or anyone else can take that away from you. Natural law is God created. He created gravity. He created these things. He created Earth to be a particular way. Now, we're not going to, as of yet, dive into, and I don't know that I have the capability in the scope of this class to dive into the problem of evil. We will talk about the problem of evil because, as you know, it happens. This is probably the biggest argument against God. Why would such a loving God create? One example that I think of a lot is childhood cancer. What kind of God gives a child cancer? What kind of God does this? If you, as a scientist, look at the order of things, you again see there has to be death. There has to be, in some ways, disease. It's just how the world works. The question about Haiti, how can a loving God create earthquakes? Well, a loving God created Earth, and Earth has plate tectonics, and they shift and they create earthquakes. Now, does that mean our God is evil? No. Does that mean he obeys the natural law? The natural law says the plates shift, it causes an earthquake. Were there miracles that happened probably in Haiti? Were there people who survived that probably shouldn't? I remember them pulling young children a week later out of a grocery store. Obviously miracles. Does sometimes God come in with a miracle, and they're his natural laws? He has the right to make a miracle. He has the right to perform a miracle when he so chooses. No one is taking that right away from him. Throughout history, if you watch a lot of the History Channel really loves to take processes in the Bible and see how they could have happened naturally. So how could Moses have parted the Red Sea and it just be a natural law? It just happened to be where the river was low, there happened to be a wind, they happened to come right at the right time, and the Red Sea parted. It's very possible. I can see our God working either way. I can see him coming down and doing this miraculous parting of this giant sea and the Israelites walking through and then swallowing up the army behind them. But I can also see God working through the natural laws. They're his laws. He made them. He created Earth. There can always be explanations both ways. And again, if you watch a lot of the History Channel, you can take these to anything. The plagues, the parting of the Red Sea, all of these things where God it was timing. God knew when to send the Israelites through. The Israelites knew when to go through because of the timing of when the Red Sea might be shallow enough for them to go past it. So I think that I ask you to ponder that. All of the miracles that you know from the Bible, could they have been timing? Again, one evening with the History Channel and you can have about 10 examples of this. But it's an interesting thing to think about. Not something that I would want you to ponder for many years, but just, does God work through his own natural laws? He created those laws and he can work through them. Or does God very often say, they're my laws and I can break them if I want to? And that goes along with the God of the gaps, again, because miracles, we love a miracle as a Christian. I think all Christians love, you pray for someone and they're healed and they're better and the church praises God, and I think it's a wonderful thing. But there's a difference between that and everything is a look at this, it's God. Science can't explain it, and Christians are like, la la la, na na na, science can't explain this, so it's got to be God. And I think that is very unwise, because again, it gets you to a place where once science can't explain it, then you tend to be, you have to go back and make God smaller, and I never really want to do that. One other thing I want to mention briefly is kind of an advanced concept. Maybe some of you are theology majors and you've heard of it, is something called process theology, which is definitely a God of natural laws. This theology says that God created the earth and now looks at it like a snow globe. Sets back, no miracles, no interaction with humanity at all. He sort of sets back and looks at the earth as if he's looking at a snow globe. And some of the issues with this is it does make our God very small, it makes him very cold, it makes prayer completely ridiculous and a total waste of time, because God doesn't come down and interact with humanity at all. He created it, it was good, and now he sets back and watches it. I think it's a good explanation for evil. It says, well, God doesn't come in and mess with anything. He set it up, and if we're evil, we're evil. But it does have dangers, and if you run into it, I think you need to really seriously consider if your God, if the God of the Bible really sets back and just watches the whole thing happen. And that is a little bit of process theology. We're not going to talk about it a lot because, again, it's a very theological concept that some of you are probably not that excited about.